Hi, I'm Corinne Lesh with EdScoop, and I'm sitting here with Keith Krueger, CEO of CoSN. Hi, Keith. How are you?
Good to see you, Corinne.
Good to have you. Let's talk a little bit about the conference this year. We're at CoSN 2016. So tell us a little bit about the big trends that people are going to be talking about here.
So the overall theme is around innovation and what's the culture in which and leadership that it takes to make an incumbent institution, public institution like schools, be innovative. And we'll be hearing from Dan Pink, who's written a lot on that. We'll also hear from the White House Chief Technology Officer, who came from Google, pretty innovative company, now is at the White House. So we're going to hear a little bit about how that's different, and then ask some superintendents what are they doing to instill innovation. The other big themes that we're going to hear about, privacy has been kind of a driver the last 2 years. And many school systems, many superintendents and CTOs are a little bit on the defensive. It's kind of a hostile question. Are you protecting my child's data? So we're going to try to have a conversation about how do you change that from a conversation about privacy to one of trust. And we're going to be putting out a new trusted learning environment seal that school districts who want to be leaders can voluntarily do. So we've identified about 40 practices that we think school districts would be doing to get to what Stephen Covey says, trust is the glue that holds together society. And we're also going to be talking about equity on Wednesday. For the last 25 years, we've been talking about the digital divide. And 99% of our time, energy, and money has been about at school.
Right.
And so what we're starting to look at is, the good news is with the E-rate, we've got a predictable funding source that will get us to broadband and Wi-Fi over the next 4 years. But if we're really serious about digital learning, we have to be concerned about what happens when kids go, especially low-income families with kids. What happens when they go home? What happens when they're out in the community? And how do we think about new partnerships? How do you work with your mayor, your business community, your philanthropic community, other unlikely partners to really solve that digital equity challenge?
And you have a lot of, a few top policymakers here. Like you mentioned, you have Megan Smith from the White House. You have FCC Commissioner Jessica Rosenworcel. What do you hope to hear from them, and what do you
Senator
hope?
King.
And Senator Angus King, yes. What do you hope to hear from them, and what do you hope superintendents and CTOs take back to their districts?
Well, and I think Jessica Rosenworcel and Senator King have both challenged the country around this issue that they call the homework gap, what we're calling digital equity. And the good news is last Thursday, the FCC voted to take a really old program that gave basic phones to low-income families and make that a broadband option. So that's a huge progress. It's not going to solve every situation, but we're on a path to find lots of new ways of solving that. So we're also going to hear from some people from around the world. So Dorothy Gordon will be here from Ghana. She heads up the Kofi Annan ICT Center in Africa, and she's done a lot of really innovative work. And we've got some student voices that I think are really unique. There's a young woman and her brother. She was in junior high about 4 years ago, and she was concerned. She lived outside of Charlotte in Davidson, and she was concerned, what happens with my classmates who don't have devices and don't have computers at home? So she went to her father, and they started a nonprofit.
Oh,
They've
wow.
now connected about 100 families, and they have plans that are expanding.
That's great.
And so what we're going to be challenging is, what can students do to raise awareness and to take action in their local communities? And we're going to launch at the closing plenary that we're going to start a student video contest.
Wow.
And next year in Chicago, we're going to show the best films. There'll be, short 4-minute, and then there'll be some PSAs under 60 seconds of what's happening around equity with technology in your community.
That's really great. We're looking forward to hearing that. And this is the first time that you're sort of formally honoring next generation leaders in their schools. Why did you decide to do that this year?
This is so important to us. Our new IT leadership survey that we're releasing today shows again that a large percentage of our people who are currently CTOs are going to retire in the next 5-6 years. And so it's really important that we help create the next generation of leaders. And so we've been really proud that EdScoop is our media partner on that. And we've identified 5 really innovative emerging leaders. And part of it is giving them some recognition. But the other part is we want to listen to them. What is it that they think their generation wants from a professional association? How do we help prepare them? You know, being in charge of technology in a school, what we call generically a chief technology officer, you know, it's a blended profession. You have to understand the technology, and that used to be 80% of the job. It's now, you know, 30% of the job. But you have to understand education. And if you really want to be providing value to your superintendent and be at a cabinet level, you need to have leadership and vision. And so how do you get that? Because there's not a single career path that people come to the job with. So we're really excited about helping to identify some of those next generation leaders.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here, Keith. We really appreciate it. I'm Corinne Lesh with EdScoop. Thanks for watching.